And welcome back to Hannity. We continue with Fox News contributor, former governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin. All right, Governor, so a little back and forth going on between Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney saying that Newt is a lifelong politician. Newt saying he's more conservative, more electable. Your reaction?
Well, it's good that they're going back and forth like that. You know, then their ideas and their experience gets to be revealed, and we can make good choices based on what they have to tell us. But hopefully, you know, they're not going to lose focus. And the focus is we have got to make sure Obama is not reelected. And we have got to, with sudden and relentless reform, we've got to clean up the corruption in Congress that President Obama, when he was in the Senate, was a part of. He inherited some problems, but since becoming president has made everything so much worse. So between Romney and Gingrich and all the other candidates, they have to, vet themselves and let the media vet them and kind of duke it out. But don't lose focus. Don't let the media and the left make you pivot into this kind of nitpicking infighting that gets you off track. And on track, again, means that sudden and relentless reform that needs to be promised, and it needs to be shown how they will engage in getting our country back on the right track.
Governor, are you planning on making an endorsement maybe before the Iowa caucuses? We're 32 days away.
Well, you know, I think today my personal endorsement probably doesn't amount to a hill of beans today at this point in the race.
I'm not so sure about that.
Maybe as the weeks progress, it would become a little bit more significant. But right now, no. You know, I don't really cast any vote based on anybody else's endorsement of a candidate.
Well, but I mean,
have great respect for the wisdom of the people. I have great respect.
I wouldn't minimize the impact of an endorsement.
On your show, especially, yeah. But no, the wisdom of the people, the American voter doing their own homework, knowing who these candidates are, what they represent, what their experience provides them, they will be making up their own mind. And I honestly don't think that, a pundit at this point and their personal endorsement, again, really amounts to a hill of beans.
All right, but you are a leader in the Tea Party movement. Well, let me ask the question a different way. I sense you may not want to reveal where you're leaning, but is there any one candidate now that you're leaning towards?
I am leaning toward the candidate who can best articulate he being the antithesis of Barack Obama. He understanding what it takes to reform our country and not allow it to be fundamentally transformed away from the exceptionalism that is America. But he who can promise to, because he has experience doing so, cutting taxes, reining in government. We have to make sure, Sean, too, that these candidates don't get away with saying that they have been part of tax cuts or budget cuts when the proof is in the pudding, when the bottom line has not changed, or the bottom line in their state or in our country has resulted in actual budgets increasing. Federal budget, of course, has increased every year since 1954. So nobody who has served in Congress can be telling the American public that they should be the president because they cut budgets. They didn't cut budgets. Perhaps they reined in a little bit of the proposed increases in the federal government, but we still spend more today every year than we ever have.
All right. If you were to assess, first of all, two questions in one. Do you think this has come down to Newt versus Romney? Do you think any of the other candidates can emerge? And two, because they're the leading in the polls right now, a quick synopsis of the strengths and weaknesses you see in Newt and Romney.
I don't think it has come down solidly to Newt versus Romney. No, not yet, because there still is a lot of fluid dynamic going on in this race. And if voters start kind of shifting gears and deciding they want ideological consistency, then they're going to start paying attention to, say, Rick Santorum, who has been consistent on being a hardliner against Iran to help protect Israel. He's been consistent in wanting to protect the most vulnerable and the sanctity of life. He's been consistent in saying we need to slash the federal income tax. I say we need to do away with it. That's the only way to reindustrialize America and create jobs. People will start paying attention to some of these other messages from some of the other messengers like Rick Santorum. You're going to see that happen still in the next 32 days.
So what do you think of the strength? Because I'm surprised that Rick hasn't done better in the polls. I said that to him earlier today on my radio show. But just the top three strengths and weaknesses of Mitt and Newt, because they are leading pretty significantly in the polls. What do you think?
Well, either one of them, all of these folks, they're going to be infinitely better than Barack Obama because they understand that we cannot survive, our republic cannot survive 4 more years of the status quo. And the status quo today is one that would just embrace and actually support more of the crony capitalism and the corruption. So any of these folks who have promised to do something about it, because Barack Obama is the consummate insider and will do nothing about the corruption, in fact, he will perpetuate the problems, any of these folks will be better than our current president. Newt has his strengths, Romney has his strengths, so does Bachmann, so does Ron Paul. Man, his domestic spending issues, he's right on. I don't agree with a lot of his foreign policy, but he is the one who is facing reality when it comes to these unsustainable, bloated budgets that are bankrupting our country. Listen to what Ron Paul has to say about the domestic spending issues. All these folks do have strengths. Rick Perry and his Second Amendment support, and that's indicative of he being a constitutional conservative who understands that the federal government can not take away the rights that are inherent and written out very clearly in our Constitution. They all have strengths. They'd all be infinitely better than Barack Obama.
That I agree with. And all right, last question. Is there any part of you that wishes maybe you did get in?
No, I mean, I have the fire in my belly to see this country put back on the right track. However I can do to help us get there, I want to do that. But no, you know, we have a good slate of candidates, and at the end of the day, it will be that GOP constitutional conservative candidate whom we do need to support. We need to back this person up and let them know that we will make them adhere to what they have promised us as a candidate in order to get the country back on the right track and to, with sudden and relentless reform, to change the way Congress and the White House is conducting our business.
All right, Governor, it's always great to see you. By the way, I like the Christmas tree in the background, but we got to get a few more decorations. I'm going to have to mail you a couple.
I'll tell Piper. She's got to get on it.
Okay, thanks for being with us, and stay warm in Alaska at this point, at this time of year.